ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासां ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो नलिननेत्राय वेणुवाद्य विनोदिने राधा अधर सुधापानशालिने वनमालिने। महाभावस्वरूपास्त्वं कृष्णप्रिया वरीयसी प्रेम भक्ति प्रदे देवी राधिका त्वं नमोस्तुते। So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, the process of creation. And we are reading the prayers that has been offered by Srila Shukadeva Goswami to their Lordship. And these prayers are like just before, where he is going to explain the process of creation. And before that he is making clear that who is the real creator and why we should offer him our pranams or obeisances. Each and every verse that he has prayed up till now, he has ended with, I offer my obeisances. Today's verse particularly, the text number 19, is very important because here he is explaining, why should I do this? Why should I offer these prayers to Lord? Who is he exactly? So he says, Sayesha Atmavatam Atmadhishvara Strayi Mayo Dharmayastapo Mayaha Gatavyatileka Shankaradivihi Vitararkya Lingo Bhagavan Prasidatam. Sayesha Atma Atmavatam Adhishwaras. Who is Lord? Sayesha, he is that who is Atma Atmavatam Adhishwara. Atmavatam means the self-realized, and Atma means super soul. So he is the super soul of those who are self-realized. That's why I'm offering my obeisances to the Lord. Next he says, he is the personification of the Vedas. The same thing Lord has explained in Bhagavad Gita. Vedeshchar Vedyo Vedeshcha Ahameva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Ved Videvaschaha. I'm that same person who has created these Vedas and who is the goal of studying the Vedas. Vedanta Krit Veda Videvaschaha. And same thing Shukadeva Goswami is saying, that he is the one who is Dharmamaya. Dharmamaya means personification of religious scriptures, that is Vedas. Then further, Tapamayaha. He is the personification of austerities. In the previous canto, 3rd chapter, where the different incarnations of Lord has explained. So there they have explained about the one particular incarnation of the Lord, that is Naranarayan Rishi, who appear to show us how one can perform austerities, and still they are doing. If you go to the Himalayas, the Upper Badri, you will see two big mountains. They are called as a Nara Narayana. So they are the form of Nara and Narayana. These are the incarnation of the Lord who came to show us that how one can perform austerities. So that Lord is Tapamaya, the personified austerities. He is worshipped by Brahma, Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. So what it means? Generally, everyone has their own way to approach their Lordship. So what do? Someone, as per his qualification, as per his aspiration, pretends. What he does? Someone is interested in following Dhyana Yoga, so he performs Ashtanga Yoga. He meditates. But whom he meditates on? What is the ultimate goal of meditation? Exactly. That's what Patanjali, he says in his Yoga Sutra. In the Samadhi, one has to fix his consciousness on the lotus feet of the Lord. Tat Purushasya Charana Aravindan Samyak Dhyate. Means, in the Samadhi, one should meditate on the lotus feet of that Supreme Person. So someone who is interested in reading Vedas, what he will do? He will follow the path of Jnana Yoga. Through Jnana Yoga, he is going to study Vedas only. And what are the Vedas? The Lord Himself. As He says here, Dharma Maya, He is the one, the personification of Vedas. So ultimately whom they are worshipping? Through Jnana, they are going to the Lord only. Through Karma Kanda, some people, they are more interested in performing rituals, performing different pujas, different yagyas, giving charity, performing austerities, vratas, anushtanas. For what? Ultimately, see, any Karma Kanda, it is nothing but the sandwich of holy name. It starts with chanting the holy name of Lord, and ultimately it ends with the chanting the holy name of Lord. What you have to do first? The first ritual in any Karma Kanda is called as a Atma Shuddhi. For that, what they do? They do Achman. Om Keshavaya Swa, Om Narayanaya Swa, Om Madhavaya Swa. They chant the holy name of Lord. Any Karma Kanda, they worship any demigod in this world. Even they worship Bhutas, Ketas, Pretas, or any Rakshasas, Tantra, black magic, anything. Before starting, they have to do Achman. And this Achman, they have to chant the name of whom? Lord Krishna. And ends it with, there's one particular thing where they give up everything. Whatever they have done, they said, Yat karishye, whatever I have done, Yat karishyami, whatever I am going to do, what I am doing? Tad eva tvam arpanam. I am going to offer it to you. Who is that you? There is a nice verse that's from Srimad Bhagavatam, and they chant at the end of all the Karma Kanda. Which one is that? Joshi ji. Kayena vacha manaser indriyarva buddhyatmavana prakriti svabhavat karomi yadyat satatam parasmai narayana yadi samarpayami. What I am doing? Kayena, whatever I do with this body, vacha, with my speech, kayena vacha manasaha, with my mind, indrayerva, through my senses, buddhyatmara prakriti svabhavat, with my intelligence, or according to the nature that I was born with. That is Swabhava. The nature that with I was born. So with my body, mind, senses, intelligence, and my nature, whatever I do, what I'm going to do now? Narayanayati samarpayami. I'm going to offer it to Lord Narayana. There is one more verse that's quite really wonderful. Actually, before going to bed, we should chant this, at least remember this verse. This verse says, Sthiti seva gatir yatra smrtirshchinta stutirvachaha bhuyat sarvat manah vishno madiyam tvai cheshtitam. Sthiti, in whatever position I am. Seva, whatever service I do. Sthiti sevaha stutirvachaha, whatever praise that I offer through my speech. Gatir smritaha, wherever I go and whatever I remember. Smritish chinta, gatir yatra and smritish chinta, whatever chinta, the anxieties that I have, or whatever I try to, sometimes chinta means meditation also. Whatever I chintan, whatever I meditate on. Smritir chinta, gatir yatra smritir chintaha, stutir vachaha. So whatever I offer prayers. Bhuyat sarvat mana Vishnu. Let that happens, everything. Maya cheshtitam, whatever I have done, whatever activities that I have performed, tadiya, for you. So that is what devotee means. 24/7, he is totally engaged in the thoughts, deeds of their Lordship. Is that great? And that's what he aspires from us. What he says in Bhagavad Gita. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Next. Yatantasya dhrudavrataha. Dhrudavrataha. Vrata means who has taken a vow. What kind of a vow? What sort of a vow? Temporary? Dhruda. Dhruda means with a determination. With full determination, he has taken a vow of what? Satatam kirtayanto mam. Constantly, always remember him, discuss about him, think about him. Such a person is dear to the Lord. So coming back to the point, even someone follows the karma kanda, ultimately Sri Krishna arpanamastu. They put a water on the hand and offer everything to Lord Krishna. What to speak of other demigods? Even the controllers of the demigods, who are those? Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they are the controllers of the all demigods. They worship that Supreme Personality of a Godhead. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that Supreme Absolute be pleased with me. So what is the aspiration of devotees? They aspire that Supreme Lord. Jagadishwaram Ishwaram Idyavaram. Who is Jagadish? Who is the Lord of the whole universe? Idyavaram, who is topmost among the all controllers, who is the Parameshwara. Suravandya Suvandya Mukunda Harim. Suravandya, who is worshipped by the demigods. Suvandya, he is the worshipable actually, no one else. Aradhanam hi sarvesham Vishnor Aradhanam Param. The topmost worship is the worship of Lord Vishnu. That's what Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says. He said, that Lord who is the master of the whole universe. See, actually Srimad Bhagavad Gita is nothing but formulas. Lord has given whole knowledge in nutshell in the form of sutras, formulas. So how to apply those formulas in our day-to-day life? That we can learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. Because there, the application of those formulas in day-to-day life has been done by the great devotees. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but applied knowledge. You must have studied applied mechanics in first year of your engineering. Huh? What is that applied mechanics?
The law of mechanics applied to the real world systems.
Generally, whatever the laws that you have learned from your primary to secondary and then higher education, how they can be used, how they can be materialized in your day-to-day functions, that is showed, illustrated in applied mechanics. So same way, Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but the applied Bhagavad Gita. How one can apply those 700 verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in our life, that is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So there Lord says that, Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarva pravartate. I am the master of everything and everything emanates from Him. The same thing Shukdev Goswami is telling here. You are the person from whom all they come. And that's why they offer their awe and reverence to you. And I want that you should get pleased with me. Why so? In the previous verse we have seen even the most abominable creatures, human beings, untouchables, even they take the holy name of Lord, and what happens to them? They get totally purified. They become qualified to ascend the abode of their Lordship. To go there, be with Him, and perform pastimes with Him. How that happens? Only by chanting His holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And that's what the scripture says. Kalisantam Upanishad clearly says, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalau nasteva na astieva gatiranyatha. Gati means destination, or sometimes the process through which you can attain your destination. So in this age of Akali, there is no other way. No asati eva. There is a nothing. There is a nothing. There is a nothing. Only Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevala. Only the holy name of their Lordship. That can save us from everything. Because as we are born in this pitiful condition of life, in this age of Akali, we are adorned with 4 wonderful qualities, which keeps us shackled in this world only. You must be confused why I am saying those are wonderful qualities. Huh? Because we think so and we don't want to give them up, That's why they are wonderful. Which are those? These are our qualities. Huh?
We kind of understand, we kind of realization, we kind of see.
प्रायेण अल्पायुष्यः सभ्या कलौ अस्मिन् युगे जनः मंद सुमंद मतयोः मंदभाग्य उपद्रतः. One is manda, all we are lazy. What that means? I'm so active. I get up at 5 o'clock and I work for whole day. Sometimes late night up to 11, 12, 1 o'clock. How you can call me as a manda, lazy? Do I am? 101%. Lazy for what? For your own self. You are in the rat race. That doesn't make you a successful person. Because you are losing yourself. You are working for the body, not for you. That's why manda, lazy for Adhyatma Vidya. So Shukadeva Goswami, he never stops there. He further says, Sumanda Matayo. Sumanda Matayo means confused. After doing my masters, I don't know what I have to do with my life. After spending of 26 years of my life, I don't know what I have to do actually, With that roll of paper, I go hunting for job. If you are learned, why you have to work for other? Can't you do something for yourself? So we are confused. We may be PhDs, but still we are confused. We don't know what's good for me. Na shreyoskara abhijanati. I don't know what's good for me. Then what's the use of the whole material knowledge? Manda, sumanda matayo. And next is manda bhagya. Manda bhagya means unfortunate. Or misfortunate means who has missed their fortune, And unfortunate means? So we are manda bhagya. We have not misfortune we don't have fortune even. Why? Because these two qualities are there, manda and sumanda. Already lazy, on top of that, confused. So does confused person has some future? Samshayatma vinashati. Nayam loke paraloko. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, the confused person, he never attains anything in this world, nor in that world. Then what happens to him? Vinashati. Gets destroyed. The person who is going to get destroyed, what kind of a fortune he is having? So he is unfortunate actually. So we have that quality. We are unfortunate. And what's the next one? That is really a wonderful thing, Upadhritaha. Upadhrita means?
Always disturbed.
Whose mind is always disturbed. You may be sitting here, but mind must have gone somewhere. He sneaked, went there, and then you have to grab him back. Hey, come here. I'm right now here, so I have to listen. Or maybe he's cheating you right now. Like sometimes what happens, you sit somewhere, it most happens when you are chanting. At that time, mind makes a trick. He reminds you that some 10 years back you have given some $10 to someone and he has not returned it. Does it make sense right now? Nothing, but your mind ponders on that. Because that is the nature of mind. It's with everyone. Upadhritaha. And because of these qualities, alpayushaha, our life is alpa. It's reducing. Previous generation to you, they must be living like 100 minimum, 100 and plus. And right now, 65. After 65, everyone is worried. I should prepare my will now. Before it's too late. Divide my properties or give something to someone or just pay off my this thing. So I should die without any loans and anything on head. Because 65 is like a threshold now. So Alpayusha, we are losing our life. And even though someone has a long life, but if it is not used for Krishna consciousness or developing your consciousness for the service of the Lord, it's waste of time. And that's why Shukdev Goswami says that you may follow any path for self-realization. The ultimate goal is Krishna. If you have to go to Vrindavan, you may take a flight from here directly to LA, from LA directly, not LA, Los Angeles, not from Los Angeles or Newark. Go to the Newark, from there 15 hours Delhi, got down and go to Vrindavan. Someone may take another route, they go via China, travel for 30 hours, reach to Vrindavan. So it depends upon you which path you want to take. But ultimate Delhi destination is back to Godhead. Whether you want to go immediately or whether you want to loiter around and then go back, it depends upon you. Intelligent person, what he does? He finds out the shortcut. And here the shortcut has given. And that shortcut is catch hold the lotus feet of some elevated devotee, because he is going to go to Krishna only. So if he goes there, his feet will go there also. So just hang around. And that's why Prabhupada said, never leave ISKCON. Just hang around. Don't do anything. Just hold it. Don't leave it. Because this is what crossing this ocean of material existence. Whether you are in the boat or you are hanging outside the boat, ultimately boat will take you to the back to Godhead. But be in touch with the boat. Yatpada Pallava. Pallava means boat. Lord's lotus feet are like a boat. And who is always at the lotus feet of the Lord? The 5th verse of Chaitanya Shiksha Ashtaka. What is that verse? What is the aspiration of devotee? Vaishnava is devotee. Ai nanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam vado tava pada pankaja sthita dhulikana. The aspiration of pure devotee that they wanted to become a peck of dust at the lotus feet of the Lord. So our destination is the lotus feet of the Lord Shiva. So when we take shelter of that lotus feet, and that's why they are called as a Abhaya Charana. They gave us fearlessness from this material world. That's why you can see the devotees, they are always smiling. And materialist, in Hindi we call Krishna Das Sada Bindas. Maya Das Sada Udas. Krishna Das means the servant of Krishna is always happy go round. You know. Whenever you look at him, he is ever fresh and smiling. And vice versa, Mayadas, the person who is materialistic, always in some tension. Something is going on. You can see big question mark on his head rather than the shikha, you know. We tie this knot. If you see this knot is exactly like a question mark. But that is ulta question mark, the other way around. So everything is tied here. They lose them, so you get lot of question marks only. And that is in the right way. So they are always there in the questions. So if you want to have the question-free life, then what you should do? Have a shika. Shikha is none other than the representation of knowledge. The person who has knowledge, he keeps the Shikha. Because that's fire, that burns out everything. So we should be very careful. Because, as Prabhupada says in this purport, the Supreme Lord, the personality of a Godhead, although the Lord of all followers of a different paths and self-realization, is knowable only by those who are above pretensions, aspirations, pretense. These are our self-made things. And if you go above the self-made things, then only you can know their Lordship. Otherwise you will have your square and you will get stuck into that one. Everyone is searching for the eternal peace or eternal life. And with an aim to this destination, everyone is either studying the Vedic scriptures or other religious scriptures or undergoing severe austerities as empiric philosopher, as a mystic yogis or as unalloyed devotees, etc. But the Supreme Lord is perfectly realized only by devotees because they are above all pretensions. Those who are on the path of self-realization are generally classified as karmis, jnanis, yogis, or devotees of the Lord. The karmis, who are much attracted by fruitive activities of the Vedic rituals, are called bhuktikami, or those who desire material enjoyment. The jnanis, who try to become one with the Supreme by mental speculation, are called muktikami, or those who desire liberation from the material existence. The mystic yogis, who practice different types of austerities for attainment of 8 kinds of material perfection, Ashtasiddhis, and who ultimately meet the Supreme Soul, Paramatma, in trance, are called Siddhikami, or those who desire the perfection of becoming finer than the finest, becoming heavier than the heaviest, getting everything desired, having control over everyone, creating everything light, etc. All these are abilities of a powerful yogi. But the devotees of the Lord do not want anything like that for self-satisfaction. They want their Lordship. And Lord says, I get bound by and controlled by devotees. Aham bhakta paradina. So the intelligent person what will do? Rather than controlling this thing, that thing, he will try to control the person who is controlling everything. That's why it said, Krishna jo sei so bado, Krishna bhaja sei bado chatur. The person who worships Krishna is really intelligent because he catch hold Krishna. And Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhu, I am the controller. So rather than controlling things separately, trying hard for achieving something, if you control him, then what happens? Automatically everything comes under your control. But devotee never likes that. They never aspire for that. They never worship Krishna for that reason. In case if you have desire, you should worship Krishna like that. Then he purifies and ultimately you think that, oh my Lord, you be in the control. Because I have seen being a controller what happens. One time I was a Brahma, look at me what I am now, controlled by my own wife and my daughter. One time I used to control millions of souls in this universe. What is my precarious condition now? So I don't want to be a controller. You be the controller. That's devotee. They want only to serve the Lord because Lord is great, and as a living entity, they are eternally subordinate parts and parcels of the Lord. This perfect realization of the self by devotee helps him to become desireless, to desire nothing for his personal self, and thus the devotees are called Nishkami, without any desire for personal sense gratification. A living entity by his constitutional position cannot be void of all desires. The bhuktikami, muktikami, siddhikami all desire something for personal satisfaction. But the Nishkami devotees of the Lord desire everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. They are completely dependent on the orders of the Lord and are always ready to discharge their duty for the satisfaction of the Lord. In the beginning, Arjuna placed himself as one of those who desired self-satisfaction. For he desired not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but to make him desireless, the Lord preached the Bhagavad Gita, in which the ways of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and also Bhakti Yoga were explained. Because Arjuna was without any pretension, he changed his decision and satisfied the Lord by agreeing to fight, by saying, Karishye Vachanam Tava, I will do whatever you say. And thus he became desireless. The examples of Brahma and Lord Shiva are specifically cited here because Brahmaji and Lord Shiva, Srimati Lakshmi ji, and the four Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, Sanat Kumar, etc., are leaders of four desireless Vaishnava Sampradayas. They are all freed from pretensions. Srila Jiva Goswami interprets the word Gata Vyalikaihi as Projita Kaitavaha, or those who are freed from all pretensions, the unalloyed devotees only. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 9, text number 149, it is said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atayeva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakaliya Shanta. Those who are after fruitive results for their pious activities, those who are desire salvation and identity with the Supreme, and those who desire material perfection of a mystic power are all restless because they want something for themselves. But the devotee is completely peaceful because he has no demand for himself and is always ready to serve the desires of the Lord. Kamam tu dasya natu kama kamya. That's what the principle that who followed? Maharaj Ambarish. Maharaj Ambarish, he followed that principle in his life. Kamam tu dasya natu kama kamya. He only desired dasya, the servitorship for the Lord. He wanted to become a servant. Natu kama kamya, nothing, anything for his personal sense gratification. And that's why he was a Shanta. In that episode of Durvasa Muni and Maharaj Ambarish, we can see Durvasa Muni was so much disturbed. He was desiring so much of awe and reverence for himself. And that's why he cursed Maharaj Ambarish. But Maharaj Ambarish, with a folded hand, silently he took that curse. He said, okay, that's what Lord desires. Let that happen. Then Durvasa created a Kritya, what's that? Some evil energy that wanted to kill Ambarish Maharaj. But what happened? Sudarshan is Bhaktanam Rakshakaya, who is there to protect the devotees of the Lord. That's why, as per the Agamas, when you get up early in the morning after taking bath, you should do Sudarshan Mudra on your head. So that protects you from all evil energies. Om Namo Bhagavate Sudarshanaya. And then the whole thing starts. You get totally protected because Sudarshana is meant for that. Because he was a Nishkama, he never had any desire for his own sense gratification. He got the protection from Lord Sri Hari. Sudarshan came and protected him. That never happens with Jnanis, Yogis or Karmis, because by performing karma they think that I get saved because I perform this Anushtan, this Yajna, that. No. You can saved only by the mercy of Krishna. Then further Prabhupada says here, The conclusion is therefore that Lord is for everyone because no one can achieve the result of his respective desires without his sanction. Because as Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, he is Anumanta, he is the one who gives Anumati, who gives permission to you, do you, whether bad or good. He is the one who is going to give permission. Without his sanction, nothing happens. But as stated in the Lord, Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, all such results are awarded by him only. For the Lord is Adhishvara, the original controller of everyone. Namely, the Vedantis, the great Karmakandis, the great religious leaders, the great performance of austerity, all who are striving for spiritual advancement, but ultimately he is realized by the pretensionless devotees only. Therefore, special stress is given to the devotional service of the Lord by Shukadeva Goswami. And then, in the next verse, he explains about the Pati. Pati means who protects you. Pa iti saha, who protects you from the fall down. So who is that? Who is that ultimate Pati? That has explained in the next verse of this chapter. And that we'll discuss next Saturday. So any question, any comment? Should I repeat the whole thing?
The only way to get complete control is to completely give up anything.
See why Lord Krishna is adored by everyone. See, it's not that heroic deeds in this world that attracts people. If you go back in the history, whom really the people they adore? They adore the people who has renounced, who has given up, who has given up for the sake of society. If you read this Arabic history, when they speak about the whole world, like they speak about China for its crafts. They speak about Greeks for their heroism. But when they speak about India, they speak only about the Indian saints, not about kings, nothing. Why? Because those saints, they have given up everything for the sake of giving knowledge to the whole world. So Lord, what he did, even though he is master of whole universe, he never bothered about it. Brahma, now it's yours, you take care of this. He never interfered. That's why people they generally think, I am a devotee now, why I am suffering? If Lord is control of everything, I am under his control, so why I am suffering? He never controls your life like that. As long as you have your body, your karma should be kshaya, it should get destroyed by your own activities. Lord is not going to interfere in that. But he will make a path in such a way that you can get attached to him. And once you get attached to him, then whatever suffering comes, you never get bothered. Because he brings you to that point where you automatically renounce everything. And that's why Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, when he says Ma Shucha happens when you parityajya. Sarva dharmana parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papyobhya ma shucha. Don't worry. When you don't worry, give up everything. When you give up everything, you are not worried because you don't have anything to worried about. And that's what the understanding of your devotee, you know. Why have to worry? Nothing belongs to me. Today it's mine. Yesterday it was someone else. And tomorrow it's going to go to someone else. Why should I worry? Does it make sense? But we are so nonsense that we don't have that sense at all. And that's why again, all these stories, if you see the pastimes of Lord with his devotees, that's what, they gave up everything for the sake of Lord. And that's the way. Look at Ambarish Maharaj. He was the emperor of whole world. He had the power that he would have given a return curse to Durvasa, but he never did that. Because he was Nishkama. That's why he was peaceful. And he was knowing whatever happens, Lord is going to protect me. That firmness, that faith makes you renounce everything. And especially, we are following the Gaudiya Sampradaya. For us, Vairagya, renunciation, is topmost. That's what Lord Gauranga desires from us. He clearly says, Gaurangera Bhaktagana Vairagya Pradhan. Ya haite Pritahana Gaura Bhagwan. If you want to make happy Lord Gauranga, you should renounce. Renouncing thing does not mean that you give it up, your family life, your profession. That's not renunciation. Renunciation means giving up the self-satisfaction or self-sense gratification that you are going to achieve through that. You give up that. I am attached to my family. Why? It's not that because they are satisfying my senses. I am attached to my family because I am responsible for their Krishna consciousness, and that responsibility Lord has given to me. So Lord has thought me responsible for that responsibility, so I am attached to that responsibility. Does it make sense? So here you are not on the bodily platform, but here you are on the proper understanding. That's what the relationship that we need to establish, which is God-centered. Why I am loving my wife? Because she is also the servant of their Lordship. And to serve the Lord means to serve his devotees first. So considering them as a devotee, if I love them, if I serve them, Lord will get pleased with that. Do we think like that? Sometime. Huh? But we need to, Because according to this Deha, as Prahlad Maharaj says, Deha yogina dehina yadvad labate saukhyam ayatnata dukkhayati. As you got this body has certain things that has come along with this body. A certain amount of happiness, certain amount of relations, certain amount of sufferings. As long as you have this body, they are not going to leave you. Whether you become pure devotee or you become a demon, you have to suffer, enjoy, become reckless for that things. You have to be, because you have this body. Because yadvad labate saukhat, without endeavoring sometimes you get happiness. And without endeavoring sometimes you get sufferings. Do we really endeavor much to suffer more? We always not. We always try to work in such a way that we can get happiness. But still we don't get. And sometimes it comes like in abundance, Because it is according to this body. So never compare yourself with others, because everyone has their own package. Don't waste time in that. Be contained. Ishavasam idam sarvam yat kinchim jagatam jagat. Whatever yours is there, you are going to get it. You don't have to worry about that. Because Lord's system is Purna, absolute. He has given you teeth, definitely He is going to give you food. That's why teeth are there. If He does not want to give you food, why He will give you teeth? Huh? Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Everything has its absolute use. And unless and until you connect with the absolute, you are not going to understand that. And that's why this whole process is there, through which we can get connected to the Lord. And really absolute happiness that we can achieve. Does it make sense? It's so wonderfully explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why it said in the 12th, 13th, 15th, 12th canto, 13th chapter, 15th verse. Tad rasamrita triptasya na asti ratihi kvachit syat. Sarva shastrartha idam Srimad Bhagavatam uchyate. The essence of all Vedic scriptures is Srimad Bhagavatam. And once who gets satisfied with the one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, he never gets any taste in anything in the world. That's what the translation. Read it.
Srimad Bhagavatam is declared to be the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. One who has felt satisfaction from its nectarian mellow will never be attracted to any other literature.
We have an example here. Within 4 months he has finished Srimad Bhagavatam. When I met him last time, he told me that he is somewhere in 2nd canto. Now he has finished 10th canto. 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours a day. Because it rasa amrita. It's the elixir of life. And once you taste that, and really you get taste of it, you will not get satisfied with anything in this material world. Because everything will look tasteless, rotten. Is that true? So this is what applied knowledge. Okay, Aarti. Sorry. Srila Prabhupada की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की आप सबकी जय. Thank you so much. Hare